seen it, right? It's literally everywhere. It's lining the shelves of grocery stores, it's on tap at cafes, and hey, maybe your friend even has a jar of it brewing on their countertop. Kombucha is, without a doubt, one of the biggest wellness trends out there. But what's the real story? Today, we're going to find out.
So that's the big question, isn't it? Is this fizzy, fermented tea some kind of genuine health elixir packed with amazing benefits? Or is it all just really, really good marketing? Well, let's break down the science and see what we can find. First off, what even is this stuff? Well, at its core, kombucha is actually pretty simple. You start with sweetened tea. That's it. Then a special culture gets added and, well, that's where the magic happens. Through fermentation, it transforms into that tangy, bubbly drink we all know.
And the engine behind that whole transformation is this weird-looking thing, the SCOBY. It's an acronym, and it stands for Symbiotic Culture of Bacteria and Yeast. You can think of this gelatinous disc as a living colony of good microbes. It just munches on the sugar in the tea, and in return produces all the acids, bubbles, and other compounds that make kombucha, well, kombucha.
Okay, so why are people so obsessed with drinking it? It really all comes down to the promise of some pretty incredible health benefits. So let's dive in and look at the top 5 potential perks that have got everybody talking.
I mean, look at these claims. They are pretty bold. Boosting gut health, protecting your liver and your heart. Some people even suggest it might have anti-cancer properties. It honestly sounds like a miracle in a bottle, doesn't it? But let's actually break these claims down one by one, starting with the most famous one of all.
Gut health. Right. The key word you always hear is probiotics. These are live, so-called good bacteria that are created during the fermentation process. And the idea is that they can help improve your gut microbiome. Now, since kombucha is a fermented drink, it's considered a source of these helpful little guys. But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. While brands have to list the total number of organisms on the bottle, there's just no way for you to know how many of them are actually alive by the time you're drinking it.
All right, next up, antioxidants. These are the compounds that help fight cell damage in your body. And yes, kombucha does contain them, mostly because of the tea it's made from. What's really interesting here, though, is that the type of tea you use, and even how long you let it ferment, can totally change the antioxidant levels. Now, as for those other 3 big claims, liver, heart, and anti-cancer properties, well, this is where the story starts to get a little more complicated.
Because, with all of these incredible, amazing promises, there is a catch. And folks, it is a big one. So this brings us to the promise versus the proof. It's time to separate the hype from the reality. What does the scientific research actually have to say about these huge health claims?
Let's kick things off with liver health. The promise is that kombucha can help the liver break down fat and even reduce inflammation. And this is a perfect example of the gap we're talking about. The proof? Well, that claim comes from a single study that was done on mice. So, while it's interesting, it is a massive leap to say it does the same thing for you and me.
And you know what? It's a very similar story when it comes to heart health. The idea is that kombucha might lower your bad cholesterol and prevent fat from building up in your arteries. But again, where's the evidence from? Several animal studies. The crucial point here, the thing we have to remember, is we just don't have the human trials to confirm any of these benefits yet.
Okay, so let's move on. Beyond the unproven benefits, there are also some very real risks we need to talk about, especially if you're thinking about brewing this stuff yourself.
Making kombucha at home can be pretty risky if you don't do it just right. If you let it over-ferment, you can end up with really high acid or alcohol levels. And if your equipment isn't perfectly sterile, you could contaminate it with nasty mold or germs. And while it's rare, there are actual historical reports linking improperly home-brewed kombucha to some very severe health problems, and even death.
So let's talk about the alcohol for a second. The kombucha you buy in the store is legally classified as a non-alcoholic beverage. That means it's supposed to contain less than 0.5% alcohol by volume. That's the standard.
However, and this is a big however, some commercial batches have actually been recalled because the alcohol content just kept on rising after they were bottled. Some of them reached as high as 3% ABV. To put that in perspective, that's more than half the alcohol of a light beer. So yeah, it's definitely something to be aware of.
So given all these risks, the live bacteria, the variable alcohol content, experts generally recommend that certain groups of people should probably just avoid kombucha altogether. This includes people with compromised immune systems, anyone who is pregnant, and also young children.
So, after looking at all of this, the promises, the proof, the very real risks,
What's the bottom line? Is this stuff a health hack or is it just hype? Okay, let's wrap this up. Here's what we know. Kombucha is not a miracle cure. It does contain potentially good stuff, like probiotics and antioxidants. But the hard scientific evidence for those major health claims in humans, it just isn't there yet. And yes, it comes with risks. So at the end of the day, the choice to drink it or not is a totally personal one.
Which, of course, brings us all the way back to our original question. Based on everything we've looked at, is kombucha a true health hack? Or is it maybe just a really tasty, refreshing alternative to sugary sodas? Well, it seems like the answer really depends on what you're hoping to get out of it.